Hello, I'm Kazumurata. I'm a remodeling carpenter based in Japan. This is the one thing I have to finish before the year ends. That's the kind of project we've got here.
おはようございます。今日はですね、築100年ぐらいかな、床が抜けそうだと、以前からお世話になっている大事なお客さんですので、家がだいぶ古いんでちょっと怖いですけど頑張っていきたいと思います。皆さん、そういえば YouTube OK です？これ撮っても顔は映さないんでその代わりいい仕事は確実にします。
We got the request about 2 months ago. To be honest, it wasn't clear if we could finish by year's end. That was the situation. But somehow, with just 2 days left in the year, we're diving into a kitchen floor repair. First, we worked with the client to move the fridge and other large furniture. We've had a connection with this house for about 8 years now. It started with some siding repairs. We built a detached addition for their family, installed a carport, repaired the balcony, and painted the exterior walls. Even now, we continue helping with maintenance and upkeep. This house was built in the Taisho era, and the client has lovingly cared for it over the years. It's a home they've treasured and maintained with great care. We'll begin by removing the built-in kitchen unit. This kind of job, you never know what you'll find until you open it up. And it's the end of the year. So yeah, it's kinda nerve-wracking.
うわ、きついな。
ガス屋さん呼ばんとあかん。
いやー、ちょっと。
We're planning to reuse the gas stove, but I completely forgot to call the gas company. I called them in a panic, and they're coming this evening. For now, I shut off the valve and remove the gas pipe. Since the kitchen will be going back in later, I carefully measured and noted the floor height. When I lifted the mat, I found a DIY floor the client had built themselves. They'd somehow been getting by, stepping carefully across the bouncy floor on their own. Luckily, there weren't many nails or screws, so I could pull it up without using a crowbar.
What? 何か起きてへん？なんかね。なんかすっごい水が出てるんだけど、なんだろう。
As soon as I stepped on it, the floor just started collapsing on its own. At this point, it's basically a self-destructing landmine floor.
なんか浸水した？
すごいことになって。
床どころじゃないの？
トラップがすごい。
解体してるってね。
危ない。
How has the client been walking on this until now? They might be a ninja.
これ年末ギリギリでやる工事じゃないな。よっちゃん。できませんでしたじゃん。赤いやつやろ。今日何日？
26。
By the way, we hadn't even decided how far we'd go with the repairs.
炭もどけたって。全自動解体。
So the plan was pretty vague. Basically just, let's fix what we can in 2 days. How far we'd get would depend on the site conditions and on my skills. And finally, when I removed the gas stove, the sill plate was completely soaked.
ここがめっちゃ濡れてる。
ちょうど高さ的にどう？
We can't move forward until we know the cause, so first I'll track down the source of the leak.
この敷居が土台。いやな、ここ怪しいね。な。
ここは怪しいのか。
The top of the foundation and the exterior slab are about the same level. Plus, there's a crack in the mortar. Yep, that's the cause. Since we can block the water intrusion from the outside, we'll move on with the work inside.
45足す40は90だろ。
Alright, now the real work begins.
これに合わせるんだったらね。
うん。水に集めるのこういうのって。
うん。じゃない？なあなあ、これ土間スタイルの方が良くないか？
また床張っても
そうね。
同じようになる可能性がある。
蓋したくないな。点検口を作るほどのあれもないからな。
ウッドデッキみたいな家の中に。
But in Japan, we don't wear shoes indoors, so we'll make a proper floor you can walk on barefoot.
So どうやって直していくの？
わからん。
あ、猫。
With the flooring removed, we'll start by establishing the reference height. The standard for the floor height is based on where the gas stove used to be. We level out from there and check that everything aligns nicely.
ちょうど114でもこれはベストぐらいだね。
This initial judgment is crucial. If you mess it up, you'll waste a lot of time later.
だから96の位置。
Even without blueprints, I build the whole layout in my head, like 3D. I can already see the finished image clearly in my mind. There's no time to run out and buy materials, so I brought a variety of things I thought I might need. This time, I'll build the floor using only 45mm square joists. First, I lay the joists at 3 shaku intervals. These will serve as girder beams. Then I notch both ends of the joists that go on top, so they rest firmly on the foundation. To make it easier to level the surface, I first assemble the joists into a rough frame.
こうちね、ここ当たっとるから床なりする。 ネタでレベルを出して下を決めて引っ張り上げるみたいな。
This time, there's nowhere to fix the girder beams below. So I first attach the joists across the outer sill plate. I notch each one carefully so it sits perfectly on the foundation, checking the level with a laser. Then I secure it with angled nails into the sill plate. Because the foundation isn't level, I had to make all 20 joists with different notch depths. Each joist's end is carved to match the uneven top of the foundation. There was a knot here, so I couldn't notch it with a chisel.
こういうシビアななんていうの、ぴったりの寸法の時っていうのはさ、
I need to roughly cut the joists first to see how they naturally bend or twist. This time, I skipped marking for level and layout. Well, I just didn't have time. Somehow, I managed to create a level grid-like joist base. Next, I'll anchor the girder beams to the concrete slab. First, I apply adhesive to the concrete slab, then insert wedges and spaces. I mark the joists with an awl. Then drill pilot holes into the slab using a hammer drill. Finally, I fasten everything tightly with concrete screws. The pilot holes in the joists help the screws bite, especially since the screws are short. And with that, the joist installation is complete, somehow. It's already completely dark outside. We're deep into overtime. I'll push forward as much as I can today and finish the rest tomorrow, the final day. While Yo-chan sets up the site, gets the tools ready, cleans up, and organizes things. I'll keep moving the work forward. Normally I wouldn't work this late outside. But this time, the neighbors are far enough away that it's fine. I want to wrap up by around 7 p.m. This 100-year-old house has really got some personality. The walls curve a bit, so getting the pieces to fit is tricky. I cut the plywood cleanly and quickly with a circular saw, keeping the gaps to a minimum. This time, I'll build the floor right up to the freestanding sink. That decision is based on future maintenance, how long the work will take, and overall efficiency. I wish I could do more as a pro, but I'll do as much as I can in these 2 days. The first day ends with a temporary plywood subfloor, and things are finally taking shape. The next day. The final day that wraps up the year. The crisp morning air really sharpens your focus. First, I remove the plywood I laid down yesterday.
YouTube とかやりだしたらもうちょっとのものが全部気になっちゃってさ。
I apply urethane glue carefully where it's needed. Don't forget to glue the gaps between the mortar and the joists.
この下の工事がさ、地面にすっとるもんで、これがもし腐っちゃった場合、これが下がってギュッギュッギュッっていうでしょ。だからここにね、そうすると下に入っていくからちゃんと。工事ね。
This is the spot I marked yesterday to make sure I wouldn't forget the glue. This helps both to prevent squeaks and strengthen the floor. It may seem small, but it's an important step. Along the wall, I insert small blocks made from joist scraps to prevent sagging. Squeaks often happen near the entrance, so I apply glue where the plywood's edge meets the joists. That finishes the anti-squeak work and joist reinforcement. These are the flooring materials I'll be using this time. I'm not sure if I'll get to use them, but I brought some standard flooring boards just in case. Cutting around the baseboards is a hassle, so I'll lay them tightly with no gaps. The key is to start with a clean blade when laying flooring. I usually use 2 circular saws for flooring installation. Something's not right. Looks like the dust bag is full and clogged. Thanks to yesterday's overtime, I'm feeling relaxed today with time to spare. I plan to finish by early afternoon and return the stove and fridge to their spots. Then I'll head back to the shop to finish sorting garbage and organizing tools. If all goes well today, everyone ends the year happy. Since I struggled with the joist work, I now understand how the walls are shaped too. The first and second rows of boards fit perfectly on the first try. Even the curves in the wall were carefully fitted.
ここから寸法を取る感じ。478。
It fits cleanly and looks great, but actually this is a bad example. It's too tight, so the short edge of the flooring is lifting slightly. Since we'll be caulking it later, I left a little more space here when I cut it. I found a piece with damage. That's why I always bring an extra tsubo, about 3.3 square meters worth of material. But strangely enough, I usually don't end up needing the extra material. It's a common story at job sites.
入れすぎた。
はい、次。
We're finishing up the final row. When I tore up the old floor, I really wasn't sure how this would turn out. But somehow, it came together safely and cleanly. Of course, there are things I wish I could have done better. But I'm just glad the client can start the new year with a brand new floor. They won't have to walk around on tiptoe anymore. Thanks so much for watching. Please consider subscribing.